Super Smash Bros. Melee has a total of 29 stages. Today, 6 are used in competitive play: Final Destination, Battlefield, Yoshi's Story, Dreamland 64, Pokemon Stadium, and Fountain of Dreams. So why did 80% of the game's content get removed from competitive play? Today, we're going to look at what makes a good stage, what makes a bad stage, and how Melee's rule set has changed over time. You might be surprised which stages were considered tournament legal and how long they survived for. Early tournaments were lawless. Items on, 5 stocks, every single stage in play. That was the rule set for Tournament Go 3 in 2002. By today's standards, it's almost another game entirely. So let's fast forward and set our start date in 2004, when the Melee Backrooms, or MBR Ruleset, was first set in stone. Of the 29 available stages, 8 were banned right out of the gate. First on the chopping block is Hyrule Temple, which is just huge and easy to camp. Yoshi's Island 64 is next, for the same reason. It's big, and certain characters literally cannot recover from parts of it. Flat Zone is tiny, has falling projectiles, and actually makes all characters two-dimensional, which causes hitboxes to behave differently than they would on other stages. Venom slows the game down, has all sorts of janky walls, and R-Wings shoot you full of lasers. Forcehide is pretty much all walls, has no real flat area to fight, and has a giant UFO that comes down and messes things up. Great Bay is tiny, has a disappearing turtle. The blast zone on the left side is like 3 feet from the stage, and also this guy. Freak. Little gremlin. Little baby man. Icicle Mountain is banned because of the fact that half the time you're more focused on navigating the stage than fighting your opponent, and Brinstar Depths because, just look at it. Jesus Christ. That leaves us with 21 tournament legal stages as of 2004. So how did we shorten that list to just 6? First, let's define what constitutes a quote-unquote bad stage. We can consider a bad stage to be anything that introduces excessive randomness, compromises the competitive integrity of the game by putting certain characters at a considerable advantage over others, or contains exploitable terrain. Let's look at the last one first. Temple is a great example of a stage that's just way too big. If a player were using Fox, they could shoot a couple of lasers, get a % lead, and then run around for 8 minutes until the timer winds down and they win by default. Same goes for Yoshi 64. So obviously, large stages are out. At the same time, small stages like Great Bay are also out. Icicle Mountain and Brinstar Depths are just way too weird in terms of map geometry, and they're pretty much unplayable in a serious setting. So weird or exploitable terrain are out. The next thing is stage hazards, which includes things like falling objects. Flat Zone, out. Walls are also a no-no. So Venom and Foresight are banned because you can perform infinites with characters like Fox, Pikachu, Ness, Young Link, etc. We also have to be wary of the Cave of Life, which is a closed-off section of the map where characters can live to insane percentages. Think the lower half of Temple. Yeah. These were the main things taken into consideration when banning stages. However, over the years, it became apparent that there were more problems with stages, and as players became more technically proficient, more stages had to be banned to avoid them being exploited. The first thing we're going to look at is called a walk-off. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's a part of the stage where you can walk off to the blast zone. Of the tournament legal stages under the MBR 2004 rule set, 5 of them had walk-offs: Mushroom Kingdom 1 and 2, Yoshi's Island, Onett, and Big Blue. In the early days of Melee, these stage design flaws weren't a huge issue. Sure, you could camp in the blast zone, wait for your opponent to nair plane, and then back throw them into oblivion, but only an idiot would fall for these kinds of degenerate tactics. Instead, walk-offs became a problem when Fox mains started getting more and more technical. For example, footage of this tournament set surfaced where Fox main Zelgadis put Eddie's Ganon in a blender and wave-shined him up the hill on Yoshi's Island 3 times to win the game with ease. Against characters like Sheik and Peach, all Fox has to do is land one shine near a walk-off, and it's basically a guaranteed kill. But there were other reasons why these 5 stages got banned. Let's start with the obvious, Big Blue, which got itself banned by being a terrible, stupid stage that no one likes. From the cars, to the weird terrain, to the fact that if you land on the road, you get sucked into the blast zone, Big Blue is an abomination, and anyone who says they like this stage is lying to your face. There, I said it.
I have spoken.
Okay, let's move on. Mushroom Kingdom and Yoshi's Island have blocks that you can fall through or use as a cave of life. Mushroom Kingdom 2 features Birdo, who comes in, shoots what looks like eggs, and then runs away. Onett has tons of weird geometry, no bottom blast zone, and random cars doing 90 in a school zone, dealing 30% to any children playing in the street.
Them kids. The kids?
So yeah, these stages were banned pretty quickly. Now we're moving into stages that are almost legal, like just on the edge of being playable, but not quite. These stages were legal under the 2008 rule set, but were banned shortly after. Let's start with Princess Peach's Castle, which is probably the least tournament viable in this section. The giant tower in the middle splits the map in two. There are platforms that appear when you step on switches. Banzai Bill blowing up the map is understandably problematic, but most importantly, the stage has walls. Similar to Zelgadis running up that hill like Kate Bush on Yoshi's Island, walls are problematic because if a Fox player is technical enough, they can trap their opponent against the wall and perform an infinite. For this reason, Corneria was also banned, although it has other issues like R-Wings that come in and shoot you mid-match, and the giant laser cannon under the nose of the ship. Thankfully, we got some sick combos before we said goodbye. Brinstar is a weird one. The asymmetrical platforms wouldn't necessarily be a problem, except for the fact that the floor is uneven. Also, this stage can be broken in half, the platforms cut loose, and the stage floods with acid, completely stopping gameplay. My favorite thing about this stage is if you jump into the acid right from the Angel platform, your invulnerability makes you tank the hits, and you just fall to your death. What a goofy stage. Green Greens would have been a cool stage, sort of like Small Battlefield, if the floor of the stage was continuous. Unfortunately, instead of a floor, the stage is broken up by two sets of falling destructible blocks, which are sometimes actually not blocks, but bombs, which explode and kill you. Also, the tree shoots out apples which you can throw like projectiles. Bonk, banned. Funnily enough, 3 of the most borderline legal stages in the game all come from the same franchise, Donkey Kong. These are Congo Jungle 64, and Jungle Japes. All 3 of these stages have one thing in common. It's what happens under the stage that makes them unfit for tournament play. Jungle Japes has a river that flows under it, which is home to one of the deadliest predators known to man, the Claptrap, who comes out of nowhere to drag you to the depths of the blast zone. Congo Jungle and Congo Jungle 64 both have big, rotating barrels that go back and forth under the stage to catch anyone who falls into them. Landing in the barrel lets you shoot out of it to recover, but it's really, really difficult to aim accurately. To compensate, both of these stages have permeable floors, meaning you can fly up through the bottom at any point. Unfortunately, permeable floors are not tournament viable, and lead to stuff like this. Speaking of Peach vs. Ganon, the straw that broke the monkey's back for Congo Jungle 64 was this game between Rock Croc and Pink Shinobi, where the height of the side platforms was abused to their fullest extent. On top of this, both Congo Jungles have weird floor geometry, and the newer of the two has logs that randomly appear, a rock on the side that can easily be camped, and, you guessed it, Claptrap. So where does this leave us? So far, we've confidently banned 20 of Melee's 29 stages. That leaves us with 3 to go before we finally settle on a true competitive rule set. So what are the last 3? If they've survived for this long, they must be incredibly close to being tournament viable, right? What the f? According to the script in front of me, 3 of the last stages to be officially banned in Melee were Rainbow Cruise, Mute City, and Pokefloats? Let's just get to it. Rainbow Cruise is a side-scroller. The ship crashes, the platforms move and tilt and disappear. It's an absolute nightmare. And yet, the stage was a legal counterpick until 2010. It wasn't until Dr. Pee-Pee laid the smackdown on Mewtwo King at ROM 3 that the stage was finally axed. Next, Mute City. Where to start? The main platform has no grabbable ledges and is fully permeable. The floor of the track is also permeable. You can bounce off it and get hit by cars. There are walls that appear and block recovery. And most notably, fast fallers get absolutely trounced once they're off stage. Plus, floaties like Peach are OP, as shown by Armada at Genesis 1, where he beat Mango on the stage, and we haven't seen it as a legal counterpick since. Finally, Poke Floats. I'm not going to say anything about this stage. I'm just going to let the montage play.
Happening, right? Are we serious? No. Okay. He's dead. He's trying to. Oh!
Alright, so that leaves us with 6 stages. Sure, Fountain of Dreams is banned in doubles because if everyone selects Ice Climbers, the game freezes. And sure, some of the stages have slanted angles, moving platforms, Shy Guys that affect your trajectory, a tree that blows you sideways, and a cute little cloud named Randall. But at the end of the day, these offenses are benign compared to what came before. In fact, oh God, oh Jesus, what the hell is happening? Okay, we should probably talk about this. Pokemon Stadium is a great stage, really great. Good platforms, awesome length.
That's quite big.
No top platform to camp. There are just 2 issues with it. You can't really see yourself while you're recovering, and the transformations. When the Jumbotron starts flashing, the competitive viability of this stage goes out the window. There's the pit, the cliff, the windmill. Jigglypuff's rollout goes hyperspeed on the grass. The Tree of Life, Cave of Life. On the fire transformation, the floor turns into not floor, and then this happens.
That was some shit. Oh!
And the Melee community put up with it for years, all the way up until the pandemic hit and we all got used to playing on Slippy. Now, most tournaments use a modded version called Frozen Pokemon Stadium, and for the most part, everyone is really, really happy. So there you have it. For real this time. After 20 years of debate, the Melee community has settled on these 6 stages: Battlefield, Yoshi's Story, Dreamland 64, Pokemon Stadium, and Fountain of Dreams as starters, and Final Destination as a counterpick. We hope you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, and if you could bring one banned stage back into competitive Melee, let us know in the comments which one you'd choose. My name's Jonah, thanks for watching. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, and shout out to B, Cloud, Kiaustic, Shampoo, Spartacus, and Yashichi for being Platinum supporters, as well as an extra special shout out to Steph for being our Diamond supporter. Thanks guys, we really appreciate it. If you want to talk to us, check out our Discord. If you want to support our channel and get info on unreleased videos, check out our Patreon. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah, thanks for watching.